Thomas! It's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by pierre-emerick.
Champions.
Good afternoon, everybody. That's my first. There we go. How are you guys? I hope everybody is well. Thank you for joining us at the Arsenal Lounge. I'm obviously Shaheen. We've got Lee Judges, who's been kind enough to give us his time to do a special appearance for us. And today's show is going to be about people coming on and asking Lee questions and with a panel. We've got the African Gunnar, who's always a member. Kesh, who's just joined us. And then we've got a debutant. We've got a debutant all the way from the US, Jessica. Welcome to the channel. How are you? You okay?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. How are you guys? Lev is not around. I can see some people in the comments. Lev is not about. It's just me today and the guys. So we just got some rules that I just want to tell you guys today. If you want to come on, I will put the link on the comments. But there's some rules. I need to see your face. So you can't come out with not just a voice. And obviously, we need to be respectful and keep it clean and that. So I'll start the conversation off. And I'll start with, obviously, Lee. We've got Man United tomorrow. There's been a lot of talks. There's a lot of things on social media. And obviously, the defeat that Man United had, people saying they're a bit shaky. And we're in a good form. So what's your thoughts and how are you feeling about tomorrow's game?
To be honest, I've got to say, it's always nice when Man United lose, and I enjoyed that the other night when they lost. I didn't think they was going to, but they did. I think that plays into our hands a little bit because I think they're going to be a little bit nervous come this game. They've been on fire, but listen, I don't think you can what's the word I'll say, like disrespect them or anything like that. They're unbeaten at home. They've not they're unbeaten away from home. They've not lost a away game. I think it's for a year. We must have been one of the last teams to beat them away from home, you know. So they're not going to be easy to play them. And
yeah, who was the last team to beat them at home?
I think he's got a bit of a problem into. He will come back. So I'll throw the same thing to you, African Gunnar. What's your thoughts about tomorrow?
To be quite honest, Shaheen, I've been confident in the last, 6 or 7 games that we've won. I mean, I know we drew a game, but I was quite confident we'd even win that game. I think, obviously, Arteta is still making mistakes with starting lineups. And really, this is the first test that we've had, I think, since we played Chelsea, let's be honest, in terms of real teams that we're – I mean, I know that they're going for the league title, but we're still – in and around, the top clubs, I would say United, Chelsea, Liverpool. I mean, only 7 points away, right? So I think tomorrow it's really going to depend on who we play in midfield. I know xhaka has been playing well, but I mean, he's just so prone to having one bad game. And if he decides to have a bad game and Partey, gets overrun in midfield, I think United can dominate the game and then we can be on the back foot. So, tomorrow I think I see a draw to be honest. And I would be happy with a draw, to be honest. So, that's my thoughts.
Kesh?
Well, for me, like I said at the start of the season, even with a bad run, I believe that we would have done the double over them this year, and I still believe it. I think it all comes down to the lineup that we go for. I don't think we should be going into this game with any sort of fear. Like, we're on a good run of form. I know Lev, African Gooners, says that he's a bit worried about xhaka. I'm always worried about xhaka, but what you don't want now is to change a winning formula. Like, we've got a good balance in the team that's been working for us at present, and I think we just need to go for it. I feel the likes of Martinelli coming in tomorrow will be an added bonus for us because I feel with Wan-Bissaka, like, he's very prone to giving the ball away when you press him very high, and Martinelli is relentless with his pressing. So I think that will be one of the key areas that I'll be looking at tomorrow.
Can I ask Kesh a question on that? I think I agree with you, but if you have the chance and Odegaard is fully fit, I mean, I take that chance and play Smith Rowe, Odegaard, and Thomas Partey and take out xhaka and kind of just see how that goes. Maybe try that in the second half. Maybe don't start with that, but I think to win the game, that's what we're going to have to do because I think we're going to struggle to create.
I get what you're saying. I get the logic, but in a game like this, Odegaard's only played, I think, 5 minutes in the last 3 months. He's not going to be up to the pace of the Premier League. Like, we need to remember, the Premier League is a different ballgame. It's not the La Liga where it's at a different tempo, where it's more controlling. Premier League, if you're not ready for it, you will get embarrassed.
If he's fit, he's fit, man. I mean, listen, this kid is talented.
You can't be fit from just training, though. Training doesn't give you...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They need to make an assessment, right? If he's fit, I think you should play him. If he's not fit, obviously, then, yeah, we're going to have to take some time. Fair
enough. Lee, you okay? You're back with us?
Yeah. I don't know what happened there, like, you know, so I ain't paid me bill.
It's all right. Jessica, what about you? What's your thoughts on tomorrow? Obviously, you heard the guys, and there's already a bit of a dilemma in terms of team selection. But what's your thoughts on tomorrow? How are you feeling?
I think that Manchester United is one of those type of teams where they're not. I know that they're kind of towards the top of the table, but they're really inconsistent and they never really have a good game. What they usually have is a good 15 minutes where if you don't control them, they'll score 2 or 3 goals on you. So for us, is if we have an opportunity to attack them early and we have chances, we have to take them. You know, this is a different Manchester United team than the one that we played before when we beat them 1-0 with the penalty. This team will hurt you in 10 to 15 minutes. They will score 2 or 3 goals when they get on a roll. So I think having our most clinical players out there is important. And for me, I'd play the exact same front line that we had against Southampton. I wouldn't change a thing. I know Martinelli is coming back into fitness, but I don't think he's done enough to start over Pepe. And Pepe deserves to start based on his last performance. And without consistency, his confidence will diminish again. So I would start the exact same front 3 and I would play the exact same midfield. I think the team pretty much picks itself. And the only real, I guess, question for me would be who plays right back. You know, is it Cedric or is it Bellerin? But I think the rest of the team picks itself. Stick with what works.
Okay. Lee, do you want to pick up where you left off? What you were saying about your thoughts for the game?
Yeah, like I was just saying, I think Man United, you know, we can't take liberties with them because they're unbeaten away from home for a year. But just echoing what Jess says there, like, you know, same team. The only decision to be made is if Tierney's fit, he comes in at left back, and then it's between Cedric and Bellerin. And if it was me, I'd go Cedric, but I think that Mikel Arteta will go with his Spanish friend Bellerin. So that's how it is. I think Xhaka's getting a little bit of a raw deal, bringing somebody that's on loan from not played for so long, and then we'll put him in place of Xhaka. Xhaka's been playing really well. I know that people don't like him and whatever, but the fact of the matter is he's been playing well the last few games. And for me, you know, I wouldn't change the midfield. I think eventually you will do. I think that, you know, we've got to improve it, but not tomorrow. I don't think this is a game to be starting changing teams around and all that. As Jess said, you know, what works, keep with it. And we know what Xhaka can do. We know what Partey can do. I think personally Partey will get better and better as he gets fitter and fitter. So that's a big bonus for us. And I would probably say, like, I'd like to see Odegaard on the bench tomorrow. 10, 15 minutes to go if we're winning or whatever, like, you know, off you come Smith Rowe and run in, see what you can do when we're 2 or 3-0 up.
Yeah, that was my next question, Lee. That would, obviously we've got this guy, he's here. Would we actually start him?
I don't think so.
Not tomorrow. No way, not tomorrow.
Well, I'm just asking a question.
No. Oh, that's fair enough. You can ask. But at the end of the day, he's no way does he come into that team tomorrow. Unfortunately, you know, it's going to be hard for him to get in the games now because obviously it'd been ideal if he'd have had a couple of cup games before, but we haven't got that no more. So we can't be like at this moment in time. Can't be doing no experimenting no more. Like, we ain't got no games to do that. We've got to win these league games to start picking up the tail. Listen, it's been a great week for us this week because not only have we won, which is the most important thing, the teams around us, above us, have lost. I think there was only Liverpool and Manchester City that have got more got points. So everybody in and around us dropped points on Saturday. So we just got to keep that going. And it's no good beating Southampton and then losing at home to Man United. We've got to pick up our home form. Admittedly, it's not good, and I think eventually someone like Uligar can come in there because it will open, particularly when teams defend against us, we'll have more options to open teams up. But Manchester United is not the time to be experimenting. They're one of the top teams in the country at the moment, and the best team away from home. So let's not be silly tomorrow.
Fair enough. There's one thing that I've seen going around everywhere today, and people seem to think Man United's defeat to Sheffield United has made them a bit more vulnerable coming to Emirates, and it would affect their confidence and so and so. So I'll start with African Gunnar on this one. Do you think there is any truth in this, or it makes no difference because they're being strong away from home? The fact that they lost, is that going to change things, or no, they're going to have a game plan. Away and home is different. They're just going to say, is it a blip? We go again.
Yeah, I think United are in a different boat than we are. I think if we had lost, you would be concerned that we would continue to lose. But I think United is on a different level than us, to be honest. And I think they just have too much quality that they'll bounce back, and they'll find a way to win. I mean, even when before they made it to second place, they had a lot of games where they were losing even by 2 goals, and they managed to claw back and win 3-2. So I think overall they're just a strong team and have a strong squad, and most of their players are showing up. So no, I think they're gonna be really hungry to play against us tomorrow. They have a game to prove. Obviously, they want to go back to the top of the table, and they know that Arsenal's back in the running. For whatever it is, top 6, top 8, whatever you want to call it. Arsenal are back winning games, so we're dangerous, and they know that as well. So they're going to be, I think, on their game tomorrow.
Fair enough. Jessica, what's your thoughts?
I don't think that they're going to be vulnerable just because they lost a game. I think that's going to galvanize them a little bit more. They're comfortable, like you guys said, away from home. So I don't think their loss against Sheffield or, I don't think that's going to have any bearing on our game. I think we just have to be on the front foot. They're not going to attack us. That's the thing, is they're really comfortable sitting back in that shape and hitting us on the break. So we're going to have to be the ones to attack. And when we get those chances, we can't miss sitters in this game. We cannot miss sitters. Like, I think Lacazette's chance in the last game was a little bit tougher than people thought, but the chances that we have to take them. Okay, so maybe it was, but we have to take them. We have to take them early. But there will be, I'm telling you, there'll be 10 or 15 minutes where they'll throw everybody on. Cavani, Pogba, Bruno, Rashford, all of them will be out there at once. And there'll be a 10 or 15 minute spell where we can either go out of there and we'll win the game, or they'll come back and beat us 3-2. Telling you that 10 and 15 minutes is going to be so important. It's going to come.
And if we're winning, that's when you bring on Maitland-Niles to shore things up, right? And just hold that win and that advantage. And I think Arteta does that quite well. So it's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah. I'm just going to make a point to everybody in the comments. I'm going to put the link soon in a chat, so you can click on a link, come on, ask Lee and the guys here questions if you want. You come on, ask your questions, and obviously we need to be quite quick in terms of moving people on, because everybody would want to come and ask questions. So it's not going to be you can come and be part of the show. For the rest of it, you can come ask questions, and then we can get somebody else on. Kesh, I saw you were shaking your head when I was asking.
No, I was agreeing with everything everyone's saying. For me, I don't really buy into that they've lost the game, because if you look back to the last time they've lost back-to-back games, I think it's in 2018. They haven't done that in quite a while, so that shows that they've got that bounce back spirit. You know what I mean? They're going to be on the game. This is probably one of the worst things that could have happened. Them losing to Sheffield United, it's a benefit to them, because what you'll find with this Man United team is they'll lose one game and then they'll go on a run of 10 games win. They're capable of doing that. So it's all about us going out there, applying ourselves properly, and showing a bit of mental edge, because what you don't want to see is them having that 10, 15 minute period that Jess is talking about, and then we just capitulate. And once we tend to, when that happens, we lose our head. So we want to hold out in the game, see how it goes, and then we can assess and as she said, we got to take our chances because I'm fed up of us getting chances and don't take it because it always comes back to bite us.
Fair enough. Just before people start coming and asking questions, I just want to put this to all of you. We've got about, 3 days left of the transfer window.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think realistically we're going to sign anybody?
Maybe another loan. Probably that's as much as we would do, but no, honestly, nothing.
I think the most we probably see in the movement is probably a left back because what you're finding is Kieran Tierney's picked up a lot of strains now, and that's just down to him playing so much games. There's no one to actually offer him any cover.
Yeah, if Maitland-Niles leaves, I think we will bring somebody in for sure.
You think we'll buy someone, or we'll loan someone and then decide again in the summer with the rest of the team, half of the other team that we're going to have to buy in the summer?
I mean, the people that we're linked with, we would have to buy them. So at this moment, we would have to buy them. So I don't know. It would be a left back, and it would be some sort of either a young player that needs time or another old player like Bertrand, like that.
Fair enough. We've got somebody who wants to obviously ask you guys a question, so I'm just going to put him on. Hi, Sebastian. You all right?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Yourself?
Very good. Very good. Welcome. Please ask away if you want to ask Lee and the guys anything. Go ahead.
Hi there, Lee.
All right, so you all right?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Looking forward to the game.
Always.
Okay. A question for you. Obviously, we signed Odegaard the other day. Do you actually reckon he'll actually fit in the team well, or will he stick with Smith Rowe for the time being and probably work his way in, or will there be a way of playing them both together? What do you reckon?
Personally, I think I can't see it work them doing that much away from home, but I think at home when teams defend against us with banks of 4 and 5, I think that I can see both of them playing. And why not? Because we've got to do something different when it comes to home. Because really, when you look at our home form, it ain't been good enough. So I think that there will be a change, but I do feel it's going to take 2 or 3 weeks for him to get anywhere near up to scratch. That's what I feel. Unless we're shocked by his involvement, and I think like a key with that will be tomorrow, whether he's in. Don't forget, Ceballos has got to come back as well. So
I don't think he'll be fit tomorrow. I think Smith Rowe's fit. I think.
Yeah, if he's not fit, then you're looking at 2 or 3 weeks before you're going to actually see him even playing. So, which is a bit of a worry, if I'll be honest.
Fair enough. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Sebastian. Any questions you want to ask?
One last question. I'll ask this one to you. Do you actually reckon any other activity will happen in the window between now and Monday? Obviously, we've still been linked with a few players, Wendia and Draxler, etc. So a few's been linked, and Mustafi and Maitland-Niles could still be out on loan. What do you reckon will happen?
It's a very good. I think we've been linked, as far as I can remember, we've been linked to Julian Draxler, and we never actually gone for him, and we never got him. Mustafi to Liverpool. I don't know if there is any legs to that. I don't know where that has come about. The only thing I can possibly see is Maitland-Niles leaving, and that is it. If they will do a deal, it will probably be a loan. And yeah, I'll just put this is what we were discussing, and I'll just put this question to you, Jess, to answer Sebastian. But Sebastian, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Cheers. Right, Jess, what do you think? You think we're going to sign anyone? Do we need to sign anybody?
No, I think we're good. I personally, I think we're done. Like, actually, before the Odegaard even became available, I was like, let's not rush into something that we're going to regret. I know that's all we're really trying to do at this point is future-proof Smith Rowe. The whole reason why we went out and got Odegaard was just to give us some more cover in that position. But realistically, who is there out there that we could have gotten January with this situation that we're in that would have fit within our budget? Like, they're constantly telling us that we don't have money. We had to get people off the books. And if I'm honest, I think this was a really good January transfer window. And I really don't think that right now is the time to start bringing people in, because people in January, you're getting loan deals, you're getting people that are unwanted by their clubs, or you're paying a massive amount for people that aren't that great. So to me, I think we're done. I think we're good. Get the left back if you can and just move on. Because if we don't get a left back, then don't give Maitland-Niles away. Don't loan him out. Just keep him.
But is there any point in keeping? Because look, how much contribution Maitland-Niles has made since beginning of the season till now? There's an argument to say not a lot. And a couple of times he came on as left back, he wasn't great. I understand it's not.
At this point with Maitland-Niles, we missed the boat, right? We should have sold him in the summer. So at this point, it's either get a left back cover or keep him. Because if you don't, then like what happens if something happens to Cedric and something happens to Tierney? So we put ourselves in a situation where it's either loan Maitland-Niles out and try to let people see him so that we can sell him. And we're not going to get as much as we would have gotten if we would have sold him to Wolves, or just keep him. That's the scenario that we're in, but I don't think we should loan him out if we're not going to bring somebody else in. I think that's leaving us really, really thin in the back.
Jesh, what's your thoughts on that?
You know what, yeah? With the Maitland-Niles thing, I said it in the summer. I didn't really get carried away by the post-lockdown form. Like, I don't see that a position for him in the squad. Like, if you're going to compete in this Arsenal team, you need to have a specific position, and you've got to be willing to fight for it. And I don't see that fight in Maitland-Niles. I know some people say he's inconsistent because Arteta doesn't play him enough, but you're at Arsenal. If you're not playing, you need to be ready. You saw when Cedric came in the other day and he put in a tremendous performance. Why can't Maitland-Niles do the same? He got his opportunity against Palace and it was underwhelming. For me, yes, I agree with Jess. If you loan him out, you've got to get someone else in. I disagree with the fact that we won't be able to get as much for him as what Wolves offer, because you have to understand that he's now a England international. I do think his value's probably gone up by an extra 5 mil, if not.
I mean,
he's a utility player. I think when you're not a specialist in any position, it's hard to ask for top money. I mean, if we're talking about he's a specialist right back, then I agree with the, being capped by England and stuff. But let's just be real. He had a couple of good games in the FA Cup. He got capped twice or 3 or 4, maybe three times by England. And he hasn't played at all this season. So I don't see, you're only worth like what somebody's willing to pay for you. And I just don't see people coming out for a utility player paying a lot. Like, I just don't see it. Unless he can establish himself on a loan as a player that you can count on in a particular position. Yeah. He still runs in the midfield.
Fair enough.
You look at Oxlade-Chamberlain and you can say the contrary. He was also a complete exact similar situation, utility player, 40 million, right? And he wasn't playing that great, to be honest. And I think you're right. I mean, that time for us where Liverpool came and got Chamberlain was Wolves, Maitland-Niles, exact copy. That was when we had our prime time to sell him for a great value. I think now, Kesh is right. We'll get some decent money for him, but I don't think nowhere near what we would have gotten from Wolves. So and he's demoted
as high as it was going to be.
You have to understand, as a utility player, no matter what, I mean, if you're not playing and you're not appreciated by the manager, I mean, when he had that terrible performance, I think it's not only because he isn't playing regularly. I also think that he's just, down tools again, like back to what was, before he was playing consistently. He's over it. You know what I mean? He wants to be a star player, a consistent player. And if he's not, then he doesn't really care. He'll play if you put him in, but he won't try his best, and play for the badge.
I'll put the link in the comment, guys. So if you want to come on the show, if you want to ask Lee and the guys any questions, click on it, just like Sebi here has done. And welcome. How are you, Sebi? You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you.
You are welcome. Ask away.
Just a question to everyone. We all have been discussing regarding the recruitment of this club for quite a few time now. Okay. So I was wondering if if just in hindsight, would you have kept Sven Mislintat in control of the recruitment rather than the people that you are heading right now? That's one question that I'm asking, and that's something that I have to ask everyone.
Okay, Lee, we'll start with you.
What about the recruitment?
Yeah, he's just asking if we should have kept Sven Mislintat in charge instead of getting rid of him.
Nah, get rid of. Glad got rid of them. Get rid of them all. They're not good enough. Not doing their jobs properly. End of, still not doing their jobs properly. Talking about Maitland-Niles, if the manager didn't want him, which he obviously doesn't, because if he did, he'd be playing, because at the end of the day, he prefers Bellerin. And if I was Maitland-Niles, I'd have the ump about that, if I'll be honest, because I'm watching Bellerin play good games, poor games, still getting games. Sell him, make the money, and then buy other players, and we're not doing that. Whoever sanctioned the deal for willian should be sacked. Get rid of them. They're not good enough. We keep letting players go for nothing, and I think we've alluded this to before. We've got Eddie and Lacazette coming into their years left of a contracts, still at the club. Why? Because of mismanagement, and that's as simple as it is. So for me, see you later, and close the door on your way out.
Does that answer you, Sebi?
Actually, I don't think that's not what I meant. Actually,
I think what he was asking.
I can answer about Sven Mislintat, if that's what you wanted to know about.
The thing with Sven Mislintat was that he brought in young players, which we could sell on possibly, especially if you look at someone like Guendouzi and Torreira. Even though we have,
but they're not good enough.
Even though they were not successful players,
Can I answer that really quick?
Sorry, guys, just one thing. Enrico, I see you in the background. I'll come to you after Sebi. Don't worry.
Go on, Jeff.
Sven Mislintat, right now, if you watch him, he's at Stuttgart. I think Mavropanos is there with him. So it really, he's a specialist in bringing in young players that you have to develop, and then you'll sell on later. So it depends on what kind of project you have. I think when they tried to, construct we're going to have Raul here for agent-led recruitment, and we're going to have Sven here for, young players and stuff like that. It just didn't work out because Raul wanted all the power. So it ended up not working. But in the current structure that we have, we're still not really sure what the project looks like, because we don't know. Edu's at this point is just kind of cleaning up the mess. So we won't really know if we should have kept Sven until we know what the project looks like. Because right now it looks like a mix of bringing young talent, but also established talent as well. You can't say we're building a young team and we're trying to do kind of like a Leicester or a Southampton type of build, because we brought in Thomas Partey. We've signed Aubameyang onto a long contract, and Willian. So Sven Mislintat, for me at this point, when I'm looking at the project, not quite sure what it is, but I'm just looking at it from the outside. He wouldn't be a good fit. We're not using recruitment. We're using data. We're not on the ground looking for players. We're using data. We're using agents, and we have a mix of young players that I'm not sure if we're going to sell on for big money, and established players that cost a lot of money. So that's the answer.
I also wanted to mention that when the organization is so rotten, even if something is really good, one piece of that whole thing is good. I mean, it's still, everyone sees it as rotten because it's just tarnished by everything else. So I think it's really, you really can't tell if he would have done a good job or not. And I think maybe when he got here, he also might have realized that Arsenal might not have the same pull as Dortmund did, and that, might be shocking to say, but I think Dortmund has been a really good team in Germany, and there's less competition. It's one of the bigger teams, and they might have more pull. It might have been easier for him to do that job there. Whereas at Arsenal, we wouldn't be able to get the Martin Odegaard of 2021, right? It's not the same club. So,
right.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Thank you very much for coming on, man. I hope you got the answer. I think Lee's got some slight issue with his internet, so he comes and goes. We'll deal with that. But then there's one person who can be here. Enrico, thanks for waiting, man.
No worries, man. Thank you. I was on the show a few weeks ago. So, yeah, thanks for having me back on.
Thanks for coming on, man.
I'm good, man. I'm good.
I don't know where Lee is, but you can ask your question. And then when he comes, I'm sure you'll answer. Sure. Go on.
Right. My question is for everyone on the panel. And my question is based on the Highland Academy. So there's been a lot made on the people coming through and stuff. And I personally feel with players like Willock and Ketia and Reece Nelson, I don't think they're going to make it. So where do you think is their level, and what 3 players from the academy do you think are ready for the next step up? So there's been a lot of mention of obviously Balogun and Aziz and players like that. So what do you think is who's next in line to be that kind of thing?
For me, it's difficult. Like, I would say Balogun, but we don't actually know the situation at the moment. Like, my friend brother is agent, but there's certain things going on. In terms of Aziz, I think he's got a bright future, and if you look at where we're lacking in terms of depth and quality, I do feel he's got a place in the team. Whether he will get any game time this year, I do feel come next season you'll see him get integrated into the team. In terms of Eddie and Willock and Nelson, I do feel like they've missed their moments, like they've been given opportunities and they just haven't seemed to grasp it with both hands. And with academy football, like there's always someone behind you that's got better potential or making noise. And I'm sure Arteta sees that. Whether he's going to decide to get rid of them now or next summer, I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool. Guys, Enrico, don't go because I want everybody to answer your question. If you want to come on the show, that's fine. The link is on the chat. Come on, ask Lee everybody questions, but we must be able to see your picture. Suleiman, I can see you in the background, so don't worry. I'll bring you up after Enrico. Lee, did you get Enrico's question?
Not really, no. So I'm saying about the youth.
So Lee will answer it, and then African Gunnar and Jessica. I think everybody's coming here to see Jessica and Lee today. And us three, we're just sitting here, just watching away. But go on. Ask your question again so Lee can get it.
Oh, do you not hear it? No.
No, he wasn't here when you were asking.
Okay. So my question to Lee is, with Reiss Nelson and Ketia and Willard, do you think, obviously they've been playing for the first team for a while, do you think, obviously I don't think they're at that level required, so where do you think they will leave? And do you ever think they will improve on that level, or do you think they will still be at that level in a couple of years' time? And the other question was based on, who do you think are the next 3 players in line from the academy to be at that level? So I mentioned Balogun, Aziz, and possibly maybe a Cultural or even Okonkwo, the goalkeeper, who's the 3rd choice. So maybe those are the 3 players that maybe.
There's a lot of talk about the goalkeeper being like good enough. So listen, I think with Eddie, Maitland-Niles, if you want to put in Nelson as well as that as well. I think the one thing, and Willock as well. I think the one thing, the difference between those guys and the difference between Smith Rowe and I'll pick on Smith Rowe a little bit more. Saka's an exception. An absolute exception where I don't think he needs a loan. But Smith Rowe went out on loan in the Championship, got his strength, and then he's come back and done really well. Willock has never had that. Nor has Nelson's gone to Germany and done a little bit out there. And then when he come back, he didn't really get into the team. What these guys need to do is go into the Championship. And because I think in youth football and academy football, it's all about pass. But then they ain't getting the physical stuff side of it. Get into that Championship, get physicality like Smith Rowe has, and then come back. So for me, like Eddie tried to do it at Leeds last season, and for whatever reason it didn't work, and now he's come back. And really, I felt that he's been a little bit harshly treated because I think because we haven't had no one, he's sort of been chucked into the fire when perhaps he should have gone out on another loan. Definitely for Willock, I think has always been promised with Willock. I watched him at Blackpool a couple of years in the FA Cup, scored a couple of goals. I thought, well, he's a good, really good player, but never went out on loan. Never, has always been in and out of the Arsenal team. And then when you're playing at Arsenal and a football club like Arsenal, it's very, very hard to get into the team, and I think people don't appreciate that, And then when you're only playing 1 or 2 games and you're being left out for 4 or 5, and then you're expected to come back in and play to a standard. For a young kid, it's very, very hard. So for me, get them out on loan. I wouldn't make a judgment on them. The one with Eddie, though, is a little bit different because he's on the last leg of his contract. And I think that, if I'll be honest, do I think he's going to make the grade? No, because it's the toughest position to play in football up front. And we all, as fans, we want the big gun, don't we? We want the top player. Balogun looks a very, very good player in the youth team. I have to say that. And I think that's not helping Eddie's cause because people are seeing Balogun, seeing him banging in goals left, right and centre for that. And they're thinking, he can do that for Arsenal. But one thing with Eddie's done it at under 23, under 21 level. Scored a lot of goals for England. So it's very, very difficult to say, he's banging in goals in the under 23s. He's banging in goals for England. They've done it at levels. So, but I think, I wouldn't be against them giving Eddie a new contract and then saying, right, go out on loan. I wouldn't be against it if West Ham come in and said, we'll give you 20 million for him. So that's where I'm with that.
Jessica?
Cheers,
so with the youth, I would say like Willock and Reece in particular, like they haven't taken the opportunities that they've had. And quite frankly, Willock has had a lot. Like I think last season he had the most appearances out of everybody on the team. So it's not like we haven't seen him play. I think that I don't know this for sure because obviously I don't know them, but it seems like from the outside looking in, like there might be a little bit of complacency with the two of them. Maybe just being in the first team at Arsenal has felt good enough for them. But what they need is they need to be pushed out of the nest and go to a championship team or a lower level Premier League team and fight, and see neither player, Reece or Willock, we have no clue what kind of players they really are. I question whether Reece is an out and out winger. And I question whether Willock is I question what type of midfielder he is. So without a defined position and without them really showing that they can play at this level, they just need loans. They do. I wouldn't sell either of them at this point because I feel like we could increase their value by sending them out. But they need to go out. They need to fight. And I could go on about Eddie for a long time because I think that with him, there's a lot of physical cost to keeping him for 6 more months. And then there's also opportunity cost with Balogun, by keeping him. And at this point, it's not really about whether Eddie is a good player or not. He's a professional footballer. He is a good player, but there's a lot of repercussions for just keeping him for 6 more months. I would have sold him in January, but I'm not sure why that's not happening. I don't know if it's, it's connected to the Balogun situation, but there's not enough decisive decision-making in the executive level at Arsenal. So we end up losing out on certain, on opportunities. And we always get to the point where young players are telling us what they want to do. They have control over the situation and we don't. And in terms of who's going to come from the youth, I think we really have to see because we really don't know, right? Because they're playing at a less level, like a lower level. So we're not sure. But if I had to make a guess, I would think Aziz and probably Serjan or whatever, because he's really young and is already training with the first team exclusively, I think. And hopefully Balogun, because a big club like Arsenal taking this long and trying to get you to sign a contract, there's got to be something there because I'm sure if he wasn't any good, they would have told him to kick rocks after all of this.
Right. Cool. Listen, Enrico, thanks for coming on.
No worries. Thanks for having me on.
Take care, Right. I've got Suleiman now, and I can see this Ovani. So stick around. I'll bring you on next. Right. We've got another from Cape Town. Suleiman, how are you, man? Welcome to the channel. You all right? Hi, man.
Hi.
Hi, you all right?
Good. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well. Go on, ask away.
Well, basically, it's not really a question, though, but from my perspective, I'm just, to put it in a lack of better words, very irritated with the way Arsenal has been doing business over the last few transfer windows. In a sense of, I'm going to use Martinez as an example. We're selling our top goalkeeper for 16 million to Aston Villa, but we're rejecting 20 million for Eddie Nketiah. To me, that just doesn't make sense at all. Martinez was much more of an asset to us, and we are not accepting 20 million for a striker that's, let's put it frank and fair, that's a 6-yard tap-in guy. Other than that, there's nothing else he offers. And that is what really frustrates me in terms of, okay, cool. If I were to be Arteta, I would say, cool, you had 15 games. Let's give Balogun 5 or 6 games and let's see what you bring to the table. But I understand Balogun's frustration at the end of the day. What I would actually do if I would to be Balogun, I would say it's either you're going to give me game time or I'm going to leave off to another club because there's 20 other clubs waiting for me. At this point in time, Balogun's career is so young that he needs to build a name for himself at this point in time. And by sitting on the bench or not even being in the squad every single week over someone that is not contributing to Arsenal at all is really painful from Balogun's perspective. But from a transfer perspective, the one guy I would really have wanted in this Arsenal side at this transfer window would have been a partner for Thomas Partey, and that would have been Bazuma from Brighton. That's the one guy I would have brought in.
Well, thank you very much for coming on, Suleiman. I think your comment was echoed on earlier when Ali and the guys were talking about poor recruitment in Arsenal and Sven Mislintat and the rest of them mismanaging contracts, selling players for next to nothing, letting players walk away for free. So I think everybody in the panel is in agreement with you. So I thank you for coming on and making that comment. We move on.
He's got a great point about Balogun. Got a great point about Balogun.
Yeah. If you want to reply to him, Lee, go ahead. I'll put him back on. Go on.
Has the Nketiah offer actually been confirmed? Because I've seen the rumours, but I don't know if it's actually true that West Ham put in 20 mil bid for it.
Look, there's always the rumours going around at the end of the day. But I mean, if our club is not going to pursue a deal like that because they think that Eddie Nketiah is good enough, then as a strong Arsenal football supporter, I'm sorry to say, but our standards have dropped. It's just frank. I mean, we win. If we look at the last time we won titles, we had the Vieiras, the Thierry Henrys, the Invincibles. Let's put these guys. Which one of these guys would walk into the Invincibles right now? I would say there's probably only one or two, if not none. So the standards have really dropped. And for myself, if I would Balogun, if you look at it properly, I believe there was an offer from Dortmund. There was an offer from Liverpool. And people is going to watch him out there. People is just going to watch him out there. And he's going to make a name for himself. But if the offer was put on the table for West Ham to say, look, we're willing to give you 20 million, I think that Arsenal is a dumb enough football club not to have accepted that amount of money.
100%.
Well,
I don't know, man.
Can I just play devil's advocate for a second? Because I think that, as much as I am passionate about the Eddie situation and Balogun, and I would like Balogun to stay, because realistically, I think Eddie should have stayed out on loan. But now that he's here and Balogun hasn't signed a contract, I do think that we have to take into consideration that the club doesn't want to be held to ransom by an 18-year-old. Basically, it feels like you will play once you sign the contract. There's no trust between the two parties. It's like he wants to play before he signs. They want him to sign before he plays. So I can see where Edu and Arteta might be sitting here like, well, are we really going to let an 18-year-old hold us to ransom? We don't know what he's asking for in terms of his contract. We don't know, the money situation. We don't know anything. So, I think we have to be a little bit careful because we're not behind the scenes. I do agree that, the standards have dropped. But if I'm Arsenal, I don't want to be held to ransom by an 18-year-old. Because that. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Cheers. Sorry for that. I'm sorry to interrupt you. The sad reality for me is that Nketiah, at the moment, if I'm not mistaken, Leeds United is below us at the moment in the log. And this is a striker that was on loan at Leeds United in the Championship that couldn't even make a Championship starting side.
You also have to, he does not play their system, though. You have to remember that, too. Take that in consideration. If you see him in a Bielsa system, we said he was a 6. Does he play anything like Bamford? Take that into consideration as well.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, is he fitting our system?
What I would
because
say,
he's not contributing anything at the moment. Easy.
What I would say,
no, he doesn't fit our system. But the fact of the matter is, he's not a Leeds player and he's an Arsenal player. That's the difference. He is under contract at Arsenal, and that is the difference for us. What we've got to do is make a decision. Listen, the way Eddie plays, he'd have been fantastic 20 years ago when you're talking Vieira and that area, because there were two strikers. Unfortunately, the game's changed now and there's only one striker. And that is where I personally think Balogun is the better option, because he's got the physique of a player that can play up front on his own. and it's going to be a little bit tough for Eddie. I don't know where Eddie is going to be able to go, because if you was Eddie, to be honest, you're going to go to West Ham. He's not going to start regular there, because Antonio is that sort of big, strong centre forward up front on his own. So you're looking at him to be playing as a bit part player, coming as a second striker when things are not going well, or going with a team that plays two up front. Now, there ain't that many teams that play with two up front these days, so it's a difficult one. I think we're going to find it very, very difficult, one, to sell him, and two, it's going to be difficult for him to get into the team. The one thing I will say about it is he's going to have a better option of getting a club when he ain't got a transfer fee, i.e. when he's a free transfer. So if I was him, I would be hanging about making sure that I don't sign a new contract. And this is the problem. So what we're going to have in a scenario, as Jess says, about being held to ransom, we could have two of our young guys going for nothing.
We're going to have three. Remember that, Lee. We're going to have Lacazette, Eddie, and Balogun for free.
I'm gonna come in on this because I want to get other people on as well. Suleiman, thanks for coming on. I hope they
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Everybody more or less the answer. So we just have to move on to get everybody to come and have a say. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on.
Can I just say something about that, though? Because we have to understand this.
Yes, you're killing me, man.
Could be going on a free, but you're not really going to get much for Balogun, even if it was a compensation down to the league of someone signing them domestically. With Eddie, you're still able to get 50 mil for him at least. So the club's looking at value for money.
Can you hear me? No?
Right. We've got Ovani. Ovani, yes, we can hear you fine.
Okay.
So if you want to ask you guys a question, go ahead.
First of all, we have to sell Eddie. So I don't know. But I have a question. So Laka's running down his contract, right? The summer is coming up. Do we sell Laka, or do we maybe give him an extra year, maybe like an Aubameyang, or do we let him go? Personally, for me, we sell. We sell Ainsley, Eddie, Laka, xhaka, Bellerin,
Nelson,
David Luiz. David Luiz is leaving regardless. So we have basically regroup. We have to regroup the whole thing. So that's my opinion. But what do you guys think about Laka? Do we give him? Do we extend the contract, or do we? You know what? Summer sell.
I'm a Lacazette out, but I think if you can find a situation where you can dictate what's going to happen with his contract, in terms of Lacazette taking a wage reduction and having a contract, I wouldn't be against that. But for the sort of money he's being paid and the inconsistency that he has in his game, where he has a purple patch and he goes missing, for Arsenal Football Club, we need a striker we can depend on who's going to be scoring goals and not missing that. I know Jess said that chance against Southampton wasn't as it. For me, you've got to put that away. You've got to put chances like that away. And for far too long, like I said, done that where he's not pull up the trees that we expected him to pull up.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think his boat is definitely passed. I think he's up. He's up right now. He's scoring, best form since maybe we signed him. To be quite honest, this is the best I've seen him in a long time, and I think we should take advantage. Let him win. Let him help us take us to the Europa League final. Win it for us. His price will be, at least half of what we bought him, maybe 25 million, because we know we're not going to make back all the money we spent on him. And let's sell him for 30 million. Really what I want to focus on getting rid of Eddie and these guys. They've had a lot of chances, but ultimately I just want a new Arsenal. I'm sick and tired of seeing all these players, even the young players. I've seen all these players for so long, and they're disappointed for so long. I just want to start something fresh and new. And even if other players are disappointing me, at least it's a new player that's disappointing me, and it's not the same old crap that's keep doing the same thing to me, right? So that's where I see it. I just get rid of all of it and
But that's going to take time, though. We have to be patient, because we have to remember that we've mismanaged the squad for so long. And we're like, if I'm Lacazette and you're trying to start negotiating a new contract for me, I'm looking at you like you're crazy, because I'm getting 200 grand a week. I have 12 months left on my deal. So all of the power is in my hands. I'm going to do what's best for me and my family. I'm never going to get 200 grand a week ever again in my career. That's it. I don't see us selling Lacazette again, just like with Ainsley, just like with Eddie. The boat, that was a missed opportunity. Should have done it past summer. Somebody didn't want to buy Lacazette. Nobody's going to buy him.
Are you saying Lacazette's going to retire at Arsenal? So, I mean,
I think he's going to run his deal down. I think he's going to run his deal down.
Not good. Not good.
Right,
Go
guys,
ahead, Lee,
I'm
go
going to
ahead.
bring Lee into this. Lee, what's your
ahead, Lee.
thoughts?
100%. No one's going to buy a Lacazette for 30, 40 million on £200,000 a week. No one's going to do it. No one's going to do it. He's
Look
30,
what we're doing now. We're tearing up contracts now.
Yeah, I think he's 31 years of age. He should have been sold this summer. Be ruthless.
They
You know
tried
what
to. That's the
Exactly.
thing.
Well,
Roma
they
came in
didn't
with
try
a
hard
bid.
enough, then, did they? They didn't try
No,
hard enough.
Roma
Now
came
they-
in with a bid, but Arsenal deemed it not acceptable. I think it was like 80 mil or something like that. We should have made a decision on it.
We
Yeah.
should have done it then. Exactly. Like,
That's where I feel like Mikel, he came in and he kind of, okay, xhaka, let me see if I can make you play a little bit better. Okay, Angel, let me see if I could get you to play the way that I want you to play. And I feel like he should have gone in there and, you know what, you got to go. You have to go. You're not good enough. And
Yeah,
regroup.
I
And I
agree
feel like
with
that was a
that.
mistake.
Get rid of Oliver, you cannot get rid of everybody. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like Xhaka at this moment in time is okay. Eventually they will sell him, but they can't sell him now at this moment in time because you can't continue to sell everybody. Unfortunately, that again was just alluded to. It's mismanagement, and that's the way it is. So Xhaka at the moment has got a few years left on his contract. That's why he's there. If Xhaka was on a year or a year and a half of his contract after what he'd done, he would be gone. The fact of the matter is he's still got sellable asset and he's still there. That's the reason why. And that, you know, until we sort out these contracts and stop giving out silly money, you know, Odegaard is a top player in at Real Madrid. He's on 40 grand, £38,000 a week. We've got people like Chambers on double that. We've got, you know, Eddie probably on the same as that. We've got Willock more than that. Ainsley Maitland-Niles more than that. It's ridiculous. It is actually ridiculous. And until we sort that out, we're in trouble.
And you guys don't take into account the fact that Arteta is now the manager and he has more say on transfers, and he likes some of the players that you guys are saying to get rid of. He likes Xhaka, you guys. That's clear.
Yeah,
he likes
100%.
Bellerin. That's clear. So that's it. There's no incentive for them to leave. If the coach likes you, he rates you, you're on good money, where are you going to go?
Yes, I think that he knows that we can't replace him, and we're not like, if we had to sell him, we wouldn't get anything, and we can't go and spend 40 million on another midfielder when we just spend that much money on Partey. You know how stingy we are. We don't have money to spend 40 million on a world-class player in every single position. So what he did is like, okay, I know I can't get rid of Xhaka or buy a new midfielder. I'm gonna beg him to stay and then see what I can do for the season, and then reassess in the summer, maybe sell him then and then buy what I want. But I ultimately think that his hands are tied. He really can't do much, you know.
Yeah, also with Arsenal, what you find out, we find ourselves in a situation where it's always make do. We make do. Okay, we don't want to go and buy a 30 mil winger, for instance. Oh, Willian's on the market. Okay, go and get Willian. That's all we do. We just go for the short-term options rather than actually working out a solution that is more benefiting to us in the long term. Because what you find yourself now with, we're now in a crossroad where we've got Willian on a expensive contract for the next 3 years. Plus he's got a year that he can activate himself as well. So it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know. Whoever gave him that contract.
We'll see.
Edu, who else gave him that contract? I don't know why we're pretending like we don't know who did it. I mean, who else did it? It was Edu.
Who, Willian?
Yeah.
We don't know that.
Yeah, exactly. We don't. Yeah, Jess is right.
We have to be clear. Like, let me just say this: is that we know that Raul had his hand in Gabriel's transfer and Thomas Partey before they happened. So who's to say? So why would we say Raul gets credit for those two, but Edu gets credit for Willian?
But remember,
it's because we want to blame Edu for something. We don't know.
It's not blaming, because look, Pablo Mari, remember when he came in and like there was pictures when he was at the airport, Edu was getting all praise for that, and he's been decent for us. So it goes both ways, right? It's not that like I want to attack. That's the facts, right?
Raul was pretty much had all power before he was gotten rid of, and the deals that we had done were already in motion before he was fired. So I think we have to judge Edu from this transfer window and forward, because we'll never be able to really
just a quick one. If you're going to say that, then you're right. Holistically, we should judge him on also what he comes out and says to the press, right? And he came out with some really nasty stuff, which I don't really want to talk about because it was in the past, but he came out and said we shouldn't expect Messi and stuff like that. So there are some things that he's doing well, but there's also some stuff that he shouldn't be saying, and it's not nice as a fan to hear that, right? Like,
I agree.
regardless if it's true or not, you should say Arsenal's
That was condescending. Yeah.
Anyone
Guys,
in the world.
I have to step in. Avani, thank you very much for coming
thank
on,
you.
man.
I see people trying to get in, so y'all go ahead and
Yeah, thank you. Listen, guys, we've got space for one more. Harry, this Hussein guy also is here, but he doesn't have a video, so I can't put him on. Right, Harry, welcome. How are you?
Hey,
You've got about 3 minutes to ask your question and get an answer. So fire away.
All right, it's kind of based on what the last caller just spoke about. What do Hector Bellerin and Granit Xhaka have to do to not resurrect their Arsenal career? Because, as Jess just said, Arteta rates them. What do they have to do to change the perception of the fans? And are the fans able to judge them on their performances now, i.e. the past 5, 6, 7 games? So we've conceded 2 goals in 7, I think. Xhaka's had a bit of a turn of form. What do Arsenal fans now have to do to say, hey, let's give these guys a free pass, let's judge them on their performances now and not tarnish it with all of the things they've done before, whether you agree or disagree with it? That's what I want to know, because even after analysing these games and reading all the feedback from fans, at any opportunity to dig Bellerin out or dig Xhaka out, they still do it. And they've been playing all right from what I see. So I'm just interested to know how they changed their narrative.
Right, thank you for asking. Just before I come to you guys for an answer and comments, if you guys are new here, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button. You can see everybody here with the Twitter handle, African Gunnar, Kesh, Jessica, Lee. Subscribe to them, go follow them. African Gunnar, I know you're itching to go, but just make it quick because we've got about 2 minutes to get through all the answers. So go on.
Oh, sounds good. Yeah, thanks for the question, Harry. I think it's really different in the cases for both individuals. I think for me, less pressure on Hector Bellerin. I think he's been a good server to the club in his general, tenure, whereas Xhaka has been very, very negative. And I think there's nothing really you can do because, you're talking about a player who has broken my heart because of what he's done on the pitch, right? Repeatedly, he's a repeated offender. You know what I mean? I mean, he should have a death penalty. That's what he has done to the fans in terms of the amount of mistakes and the cost of the mistakes. And I'm being serious here, right? And this is after emotion, right? In time when he does these mistakes and Lee says, oh, he's playing great and stuff, but he plays tomorrow against Man United and he gets a red card. And I don't think Lee's making that comment, right? And we're making a complete different assessment of him. The thing is, he's too prone to mistakes. He's too slow. He might be a great guy. He might talk and have some leadership skills, but frankly, he just doesn't suit the Premier League. So for me, there's nothing. I just want to move, turn the page over. Let him have a great, successful career. I wish him the best somewhere else, but not at my club. I want to see proper professionals who want to be the best in the world. And I don't think he's nearly in the top 20, 30 players, midfielders in the world for me. So doesn't deserve to play for the team.
Lee,
so
I'll come to you on that one.
Yeah, listen, Arsenal fans since day dot have always criticised players. It's always been there, Paul Davis got loads of stick back in the 80s and turned it around and become a fantastic footballer for Arsenal. The fact of the matter is, whatever Granit Xhaka does, because what he done, there are going to be fans that are not going to forgive him, and that's how it is. All he can do is perform. He's played well in the last 3 games. I absolutely agree with what the African Gunner is saying there. Is that eventually we've got to upgrade. We all know that, but at this moment in time, we can't, and that is it. By the summer, I do believe Arsenal will go in for another big name in the midfield, and also I do think they go back for Basuma at Brighton, and that will be you will be happy. Granit Xhaka will not be here no more, but at this moment in time, he's an Arsenal man. You've got to back him until the end of the season. But I do believe come the summer, he will be gone.
Jessica?
Basically, I just think that I think Xhaka is going to be here longer than you guys think. I think that even if we bring in Basuma, he'll be on the bench and then he'll leave the next summer. I don't think he's going anywhere, you guys. I really don't. So as long as Xhaka is in a position where he's not going to get overrun in the midfield and he's playing with somebody that's a little bit more mobile to him, he's playable. And with Bellerin, if he's going to continue to start, I think he just needs to work on his final ball. His final ball is really what's hurting him, and that's why we like Cedric right now more than him. Is because in the final third he has more quality. So neither of them are great defenders, but going forward, he needs to work on his final ball. And
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Jess. Harry, I hope you got the answers you want. Kesh, 1 second, I'll come to you. So thanks for coming on and asking questions, man. Appreciate it.
No worries, guys.
Guys, unfortunately, this week we're gonna have to wrap it up because I only wanted to do an hour on this. It was really good. Thank you, Lee, for coming on. Jessica, African Gunnar, Kesh, subscribe to our channel. I hope we can have you guys back here next week. Friday Fan Cam is a show that we do every week. And hopefully every week we try to get somebody come on, like Lee, maybe Turkish. I know Lev is working on a couple of things down the line. Jessica, it was lovely having you on. Hopefully we can have you again next week, Friday as well. So yeah, just guys, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, follow Jess, African Gunnar, Kesh, and Lee. And yeah, thank you very much for watching us and giving us your time on a Friday evening. I hope we win tomorrow with a good performance. And yeah, all good. And I hope next time we do this show, we're all smiling because Arsenal is going on.